Mickey Mantle hit 536 home runs, won 3 MVPs, and became the face of baseball's golden era. However, those numbers only tell half the story.
The contract I got was for a $10,000 cut, so I called him up and I said, what's going on here? And he said,
behind the smiling Yankee icon was a man battling injuries, addiction, and grudges, none of which showed up in the box score. In his final years, now sober and brutally honest, Mantle finally spoke about things he had long kept buried. At 62, Mantle revealed the 5 people he hated most. At number 5 on our list is Joe DiMaggio, the legendary Yankee icon. Mantle was destined to follow in his footsteps, but their rivalry was complex. This wasn't about big fights or public drama. It was about hurt feelings, pressure, and the simple rule that legends don't get replaced. For over a decade, Joe DiMaggio was the undisputed king of center field for the Yankees. But then, 1951 rolled around. A rookie phenom named Mickey Mantle was called up, a kid with blinding speed and a killer swing. Fans were already going crazy over what he might achieve. DiMaggio was asked to mentor Mantle, but it was a tough pill to swallow. As he coached the young star, he noticed Mantle soaking up all the praise and attention. DiMaggio heard the whispers about being replaced, and that wasn't something he could swallow easily. According to Dinner with DiMaggio by Dr. Rock Positano and John Positano, Joe never forgave Mantle for replacing him in center field and not taking his advice about how to conduct himself as a Yankee. In 1994, long after both had retired, Mantle and DiMaggio found themselves sharing an elevator. The elevator ride was filled with uncomfortable silence. Neither wanted to break it or make small talk. Some stories claim Mantle attempted to start a conversation, but DiMaggio's responses were brief and cold. But this is where the story gets truly ice cold. When Mantle was fighting for his life against cancer, DiMaggio didn't budge. He never softened, not even at the very end. But the most chilling moment came after Mantle had passed away. It was Mickey Mantle Day at Yankee Stadium, a ceremony to honor the fallen icon, and Joe DiMaggio showed up. But that's all he did. He didn't give a speech. He didn't share a single heartfelt story. Not one public word for the man who replaced him. He just stood there, a silent figure in the stadium. It was the final proof that the frost between these two legends had never truly melted. What made the feud so lasting wasn't just professional jealousy or pride. It was DiMaggio feeling betrayed by Mantle's choices, how he lived, how he carried himself, how he became the face of something DiMaggio thought should always be his. Mantle's side, though, remained quiet. He spoke of DiMaggio with respect, even admiration. He never attacked him in public. But living under Joe's cold disapproval for decades left scars deeper than words. And while Mantle rarely voiced it, DiMaggio eventually became one of the few names on his private list of men he truly hated. Coming in at number 4 is George Weiss. Now, this was the Yankees' general manager, the architect who built championship teams, but who also made Mickey's life miserable in the process. While other players praised Weiss for creating a dynasty, Mickey saw him as the enemy inside his own clubhouse. The problem started early on. Weiss was obsessed with creating a very specific type of Yankee player, polished, disciplined, a guy who never stepped out of line. But Mantle, with his raw talent and rebellious streak, didn't fit the mold, and their conflict finally boiled over in 1959. After what some considered a down year for Mickey, which was still a great year for anyone else, Weiss tried to pull a power move. He proposed slashing Mantle's salary, wanting to cut it from around $75,000 all the way down to $65,000. Mantle didn't accept quietly. He agreed a small cut was fair, suggesting $2,000 but not a staggering $10,000 slash. Mantle was furious at the $10,000 offer, seeing it as both punishment and public shaming. Weiss didn't just negotiate behind closed doors. He took his criticism public, openly challenging Mantle and arguing that the star outfielder needed to man up, show some self-discipline, and stop expecting special treatment. Bleacher Report revealed that Weiss was actually talking trash about Mickey behind closed doors. He told his colleagues that the Yankees had been babying Mantle for 9 years, and that it was time for the superstar to grow up. Weiss also threatened to trade Mantle. In 1959, one rumor that Weiss either floated or seriously considered was trading him to Cleveland, possibly in a deal involving players like Herb Score or Rocky Colavito, plus cash. Weiss's tactics were pure psychological warfare, public criticism to control behavior, trade threats to keep players in line, and salary cuts to remind everyone who really ran the show. For Mickey, this was the reason he truly hated him. Mantle's side here is subtle but real. He didn't lash out often in print. He rarely challenged Weiss publicly, at least not harshly. But in interviews and his own autobiographical writings, Mantle made it clear he felt stabbed in the back by what was happening behind the scenes. Mantle privately grumbled about how Weiss treated his teammates too, especially Billy Martin. Martin was Mantle's closest friend on the team, practically like a brother. But Weiss saw Martin as nothing but trouble. After the notorious Copa nightclub brawl in 1957, when Martin got caught up in that drunken mess, Weiss jumped at the chance to get rid of him, painting Martin as the one dragging Mantle down the wrong path. To Mantle, who saw Martin as one of his few allies in the clubhouse, that hurt deeply. Mantle once said, "You mess with Billy, you mess with me." For Mantle, the real frustration with Weiss went beyond personality clashes. It was a fundamental disagreement on what mattered most. So how did Mantle respond? He let his bat do the talking on the field, honored every contract he signed, and kept up appearances in public. But behind closed doors, he knew those salary slashes and Weiss's brutal remarks weren't really about the money. They were about power and putting him in his place. In later years, Mantle admitted he had accepted that being a Yankee meant living under a microscope, but with Weiss, the pressure had always been heavier. Weiss expected more, demanded more, and at times punished him even when he was still producing like a star. Coming in at number 3, we have Bowie Kuhn, the baseball commissioner who pulled off what might be the most spiteful move in sports history. This is where Mickey's fury wasn't just behind closed doors, it was out in the open, well documented and completely understandable. It's 1983. Mickey Mantle, the greatest switch hitter who ever lived, is 51 years old and struggling financially. His playing days are long over. His body is broken from decades of punishment, and he needs work. So when a casino in Atlantic City offered him a PR job, simply appearing, signing autographs, being Mickey Mantle, he took it. Commissioner Bowie Kuhn saw this as his chance to flex his power, and he dropped the hammer on a legend. Kuhn didn't just disapprove, he banned Mickey Mantle from baseball. Completely. No old-timers games, no ceremonies, no contact with any major league team whatsoever. The man who crushed 536 home runs, who appeared in 12 World Series, who represented everything legendary about the Yankees, was suddenly banned from the sport he dedicated his entire life to. It was absolutely unthinkable. One of baseball's most beloved icons, wiped from the sport like his legendary career never existed. The decision crushed millions of fans who'd watched Mickey give everything to the game for nearly 2 decades. But here's what made it even worse. Kuhn's reasoning was laughable. He claimed that Mickey's casino job would somehow hurt baseball's integrity. This is the same sport that had survived the Black Sox scandal, Pete Rose's gambling, and countless other controversies. But Mickey signing autographs at a casino crossed the line? Mickey didn't take this lying down. In interviews with major newspapers, he called Kuhn's rule stupid, and that's putting it mildly. Behind closed doors, sources close to Mantle reported he was absolutely furious. Mickey had sacrificed his body for baseball. He played through injuries that would have ended most careers before they started. His knees were destroyed, his liver was failing, and now the sport he'd given everything to was telling him he wasn't welcome anymore. For 2 long years, Mickey was exiled. While other legends were celebrated at ceremonies and honored at games, Mickey Mantle was banned from stepping foot in a major league stadium in any official capacity. The baseball world was outraged. Fans couldn't understand how the commissioner could be so heartless. Former teammates and opponents spoke out against the ban. Even casual observers could see this was personal. Kuhn was making an example out of Mickey to show his power. Finally, in 1985, a new commissioner, Peter Ueberroth, did what should have been done immediately. He lifted the ban. But the damage was already done. Mickey had lost 2 years of his life, 2 years of being honored by the sport he loved, 2 years of connecting with fans who worshipped him. When Mickey was finally reinstated, he was gracious in public, but those close to him knew the truth. He never forgave Bowie Kuhn. How could he? The man had taken away the one thing Mickey had left, his connection to baseball. This wasn't just a professional disagreement or a difference of opinion. This was a powerful man destroying a legend's final years out of pure spite. And Mickey Mantle, who'd kept quiet about so many injustices throughout his career, never forgot this ultimate betrayal. Next up on our list is Roger Maris. Even though he and Mantle were buddies, something went wrong between them that landed Maris on Mickey's hate list. When Roger Maris joined the New York Yankees in 1960, he formed an unlikely friendship with the team's celebrated golden boy, Mickey Mantle. The press soon nicknamed them the M&M Boys, and they became roommates, sharing an apartment in Queens with teammate Bob Cerv. On the field, they were a formidable pair. In their first season together, Mantle led the American League with 40 home runs, while Maris was just one behind with 39. As friends and teammates, they pushed each other to achieve greatness. The 1961 season began with both Maris and Mantle hitting home runs at a blistering pace, giving both a legitimate chance to break Babe Ruth's revered single-season record of 60. However, what started as a friendly competition quickly spiraled into a media spectacle. The press, eager for a dramatic storyline, cast the two friends in starkly different roles. Mickey Mantle was the hometown favorite. He grew up in the Yankee system and was expected to become the next great Yankee star. Fans and reporters loved him and wanted him to break Babe Ruth's home run record. Roger Maris was different. He was seen as an outsider, quiet and shy. He wasn't just trying to beat Babe Ruth's famous record, but he was also competing against Mantle, whom everyone already loved. The whole country got excited about watching both players chase the home run record. Every morning, people would rush to buy newspapers to see how many home runs each player had hit. Teammate Tony Kubek said he remembered how everyone was talking about the home run chase and keeping track of how the race was going. As the season continued, things got harder for both players. Maris didn't like being famous or having lots of attention. He started to feel stressed because reporters were always asking him questions and everyone was watching him try to beat Babe Ruth's record. Mantle felt pressure too, but it was different. People expected him to be the one to break the record, so he felt the weight of everyone's hopes. In late September, when both players had almost the same number of home runs, Mantle's body started breaking down. He was dealing with many health problems at once: a pulled muscle, a bad cold, and infections. Desperate for a solution, he was referred to a controversial figure named Dr. Max Jacobson, also known as Dr. Feelgood. Jacobson was known for his vitamin shots, which were often cocktails of amphetamines and other substances. The shot Mantle received went very wrong. The doctor inserted the needle improperly, which caused a bad infection in Mantle's hip. The infection was so serious that he had to go to the hospital. This ended his chance to break the home run record. With Mantle sidelined, the full force of the media and fan pressure fell on Maris. He was no longer part of a celebrated duo. He was the lone pursuer of a record many felt he didn't deserve to break. The public sentiment was overwhelmingly in favor of Mantle, and Maris was subjected to hate mail. On October 1, 1961, in the final game of the season, Roger Maris hit his 61st home run, breaking Babe Ruth's record. Mantle, who finished the season with 54 home runs, could only watch from the sidelines. What should have been a moment of shared glory became a solitary, and for Maris, deeply isolating achievement. In public, Mantle and Maris still acted politely toward each other, but their friendship was broken forever. The 1961 season hurt Mantle deeply, and he never got over it. He believed the record, the fame, and all the praise should have belonged to him. Even though Maris didn't cause Mantle's injury, Mantle's hurt feelings and damaged pride created a gap between them that never went away. Mantle's whole perspective on Maris started to shift. Instead of seeing him as a buddy and teammate, Mickey began viewing him as the guy who'd stolen what should have been his moment. At number 1 on our list is Casey Stengel. Now here's something that might surprise you. Even though Mickey Mantle and Casey Stengel won championship after championship together with the Yankees, these two could barely stand each other. Mickey Mantle joined the Yankees in 1951 as a shy 19-year-old rookie. Casey Stengel was already a famed manager known for his humor and sharp baseball mind. When Mantle first arrived, Stengel praised him loudly, calling him tremendous for his switch-hitting power. But despite all that early praise, things turned ugly when Mantle started struggling at the plate and striking out way too much. Stengel didn't keep his criticism behind closed doors. He called out Mickey's batting in front of everyone. Mickey's game started turning around over the next few seasons. In 1956 and 1957, he won back-to-back Most Valuable Player awards, hitting over 350 and smashing more than 50 home runs each year. Yet even then, Stengel did not hold back. During slumps, he would bench Mantle or replace him in the batting lineup. Mantle felt the public criticism deeply, especially when Stengel let reporters quote his harsh assessments. By 1959 and 1960, their feud hit a boiling point. Casey was absolutely fed up with Mickey's inconsistent play, and he said, "God knows, I don't know what's wrong with Mickey Mantle." Mantle heard the boos from Yankee Stadium fans and grew angry at how openly Stengel aired his complaints. The breaking point really came during the 1960 World Series against Pittsburgh. This is where their relationship took a turn that Mantle never forgave. According to Oklahoman reports that Mantle was absolutely devastated by Stengel's decision not to start Whitey Ford in the opening game. Mickey felt this decision cost them the series, and he didn't understand then, and still didn't understand it years later when he wrote about it. Another key turning point came during the 1960 season. Mantle's close friend and teammate Billy Martin was fired by Stengel mid-season. Mantle believed that Casey used the same stubborn iron fist approach that hurt Martin on him. Mantle began to lose trust, feeling that Stengel only praised him when the team needed him to carry the offense, but tore him down when he failed. Their conflict moved into the clubhouse. Teammates heard Mantle complain about the lineup and saw Casey get disappointed when he had to pull Mantle from a game. They didn't insult each other in public, but everyone could feel the tension between them. Despite the feud, their partnership brought 7 World Series rings. Mantle's heroics and Stengel's tactical platooning blended occasional friction with great success. When Stengel retired after 1960, Mantle said farewell without a grand public statement. The Mantle-Stengel feud shows how two strong personalities can clash even while pursuing the same goals. So that's the list of 5 men who gave Mickey Mantle trouble during his brilliant career. Mickey Mantle's story reminds us that even our heroes are human. From Joe DiMaggio to Roger Maris stealing his record, these feuds reveal the complex emotions behind baseball's greatest legends. These relationships show us that success doesn't shield anyone from jealousy, pride, and hurt feelings. What's fascinating is how these conflicts often stem from circumstances beyond anyone's control, like injuries, management decisions, and the pressure of living up to impossible expectations. If you enjoyed learning about baseball's hidden feuds and want more untold stories from America's pastime, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more fascinating tales from baseball history.